Dumela. O amohetse mo moketeng wa tsa bonono wa Freistad. I am Boitumelo Mohutiwa, and we have some really cool guests in the studio today. We've got Nike, Jenny, and Shehem, who are here to tell us about PACE. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's really lovely to have you in studio today.
Thank you.
Would you please just let us know what kind of roles are you guys playing in the whole initiative for PACE?
I'm one of the founding directors. There's 4 of us, and I've been leading on the delivery for the last sort of 8-9 months, ensuring we can get to this day. So yeah, still in the middle of it. So yeah.
And I was here for the taster last year, which was an amazing to see people coming together from all different parts of Africa, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how it's progressed. And it's the lineup is absolutely amazing, and people in the UK are just being astounded by what Nike and the rest of the team have achieved here.
Well, I'm an independent producer, and it's my first time PACE experience. I'm really excited about it because of the productions that have been chosen to be presented here. It's so diverse, and it's what we need, not just in this country but in the world. So I'm excited to see where we're going with it.
It's really such a huge program, and I mean, we are talking about having people from different parts of the world coming together at the Freestyle Arts Festival. Could you please take us through the planning and what had to go through, like what did you have to put into like planning PACE?
I think what's sort of helped with the planning of PACE is myself. I've done a very similar platform for nearly 9 years in England as part of the Arts Council England. It was called Decibel Performing Arts Showcase. So the platform, the sort of infrastructure was already there. Ricardo Peach, who's the festival director of the Freistad Festival, has had dealings with the Adelaide Performing Arts Market. He was also involved with the Australia Council for the Arts. Owen Mass, he's a theatre maker, an opera director, and he's done a number of things. So I think a combination of all of us together, plus people like Jenny and a number of people behind the scenes in England, in US, in South Africa, have sort of helped us be able to formulate the shape. The idea behind it was really that there needs to be a platform for professional artists to be able to meet each other, to be able to meet people that can buy their work, invest in their work, whether it's a creative investment, like an artistic director to an artist working together to develop something very nice and exciting, or a financial investment. So it could be a funder, it could be a producer. But the idea is it needed to happen on the continent. And it needed to happen on the continent because mobility is a huge issue and it's becoming bigger and bigger. We're seeing what's happening in Europe with people getting on the boats. That's one part of mobility. But other parts is actual physical restrictions, like visa restrictions. We've experienced that, even artists coming from across Africa to come into South Africa. But I think there's something nice about people from outside who want to buy work. So we've got people coming from the Albany Theatre in London. We've got someone from the Lincoln Centre in the US. We've got people from Australia. We've got people from Belgium, the Netherlands, coming to buy work and to buy it because they want to experience the work on the continent. I think that for me is incredibly powerful because actually often Africa looks out, but why don't people come in and start looking about what we have to offer? And we also ourselves need to value each other because South African knows Southern Africa. West Africans know West Africa, and they'll know Anglophone will know the Anglophone side, the Francophone will know the Francophone side. We're trying to mix it all up. We're saying if you're on the continent, you are relevant to shaping the creative energy of this place. And we don't look at it in terms of somebody's physical location. It's about what are you making right now. So often when people think of Africa, the question is, you look African, people would look at me and say, I don't look African. And our inquiry for us around PACE is always, what is African? What is it? Shehan's African, Jenny's African, I'm African, you're African. And you can never take one face and say, this is Africa. And I think part of what we want to do with PACE is to disrupt the narratives that are out there and that are being shared, so that when you come to Europe or you go to Australia, you don't feel completely disconnected. You don't go, that's not the Africa I know or the Africa I grew up with. So I think part of what we're trying to do is disrupt that a little bit.
Yeah.
And as we go on, I think we will eventually start to shift things. It's the bigger vision, you know.
So hearing it from the source.
Yeah,
Yes,
But there's
definitely
proof that there's a real sort of hunger for this work as well, not just for the producers or the buyers, if you like, but the artists as well. They need this platform. They need to connect with each other.
Yeah.
So many operate in isolation, don't really get the opportunity to talk about their work or to and this is a great arena for them to meet potential partner collaborators for the future. The kind of alchemy, people start talking who come from different places to have different disciplines, different work in different genres, but they come together and the alchemy is amazing. So just to have the opportunity is going to be wonderful, and it's something that needs to be documented and needs to be replicated, definitely.
I can nearly jump out of my skin with excitement at what Nika's saying, because I can see how needed it is in South Africa and in Africa. And it feels like a dream come true to be able to be a part of this and explore the opportunities within that. So I'm looking forward to the next few days.
Sounds very exciting. And the Freestyle Arts Festival starts with PACE. So what kind of experiences are you, what do you know of that the people in the festival are going to be experiencing?
Well, this has been, I don't know if it's the third or fourth, I've lost count, but the festival for me it's just an amazing collection of work from different places, but the quality is so dynamic and really, really inspiring, and it's a wonderful mix of, like I say, whatever art form you appreciate or you practice yourself. It's a great arena to kind of experience different things and just being in this it's so intense, the programming. There's so many, you're really spoilt for choice of what you go to see, but I would recommend anyone just come and try, even for a day, and just try out different things. There's so many venues on site, lots of different people. There's there's the market here as well. Lots of things happen in this. It's a village. Yeah. It's a city actually. That with in terms of the facilities out here, it's a mini city, but it's wonderful, and long may it go on.
My experience of the festival last year, I just want to go heads up to Ricardo and his team, because last year was my first experience of the festival, and I was a couple of hours early with checking in. I ended up walking the festival ground for 4 hours because I was so intrigued by this world that as a South African I've never experienced before, and this festival atmosphere, and beautiful things happened in that 4 hours, like a guy that lives down the street from my mom that creates art from junk, literally empty Coca-Cola cans and whatnot. As I was standing at his stall, and there were hundreds of stalls and beautiful stalls, but his stuff was put up with a piece of stick that he found on the road or a brick and whatnot. And I was standing at his stall because I couldn't get out of it. Everything was so beautiful, but his stuff was on the ground. And at that time, one of the festival organizers came to him and said, "You're one of the finalists in the best stand."
Wow.
And the next day he won. He won. So there were stands that you can see loads of money went into to making it look beautiful and very presentable. And then this stand, and it won. And that was my first experience of the Vrystaat Kunstefees. And it was a feeling of, there's a lot of magic that happens here. There's a lot of answers that sit here also for me as South Africans again, and as people, just like the equality that I feel happens, and so it's like a space to be in.
It's intense.
It's good. It's good.
I think he's talking about like how it's a different world, and the experience itself is just out of this world, out of what we know South Africa
From what we
to
know,
be.
yeah.
So I would like to know, for people who haven't like lived here for that long, how's the experience every time you come to South Africa, and how do you feel like it's different from the festival? What's your take on that?
I've been here about, I think, 7 times now. I think the first time I came, Cape Town. Bit of a shock, because I'm West African, so I'm used to the West African vibe, you know. Second time I came, I was slightly reluctant because I thought, it's going to be cold, and it was hot in England. And I never like leaving England when it's hot to go to somewhere colder than England. But I remember taking the flight from Joburg to Port Elizabeth and met a really lovely lady on the plane with her daughter. And from the minute I landed in Grahamstown, people were very nice. When Ricardo invited me to come to Bloemfontein, and said, just come see if you want to work with me on this Pan-African Creative Exchange. I couldn't even pronounce Bloemfontein. I remember saying to somebody, somewhere beginning with a B, it was the judicial capital. And then the Dutch were the ones who said, I think it's called Bloemfontein.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, repeat it for me, because I still don't have the ears, so my pronunciation's dreadful. And of course, I had my own impressions of Bloemfontein, because, of course, before you come, you read up. And I was quite anxious, but we have been so well received. Every year we've got friends. Even one of the guys on campus is now doing the catering for Pace, Johan. And people are very kind. And I feel that it's time now for us to start looking at ways to use this as a restorative moment. I think so. I've been here now for 4 weeks, kind of doing all the setup time. I really like it. I was thinking, gosh, if I sell my apartment in London, I could have a big house in Bloemfontein, you know. But it's not quite there yet. But I think I'll be back again in January. But we've already started conversations even prior to Pace starting with somebody who wants to do a research program between UK, Nigeria, and South Africa in terms of cultural development. I think. There needs to be a moment to pause and really recognise that Ricardo has really tried to work and navigate something that's is quite a painful space. And he always takes it in the spirit of wanting to do the best to support as many people, to be as inclusive as possible. And I think that is to be commended, because it's not an easy space to inhabit.
Absolutely.
And I think he's done it really, really well. I think when I look at what the program was like when I first started coming here, I think it was maybe 85% sort of white Afrikaans. And now I think it's around 50% people of colour. And then, of course, they have Sotho included and English. And me, when I come, I always try to see at least one Afrikaans production, just to try and respect the space that I'm in. Don't understand what's going on at all. I always go, was that about blah, blah, blah? No, it was about blah, blah, blah. But I try to respect it, and I think they see that and they recognise it. And I think what's been wonderful, working on the festival, we've had a few hiccups. And what's been lovely is Ricardo's team has said, I'll do this, I'll tighten this, they've just pulled together to make you feel, no, we'll make it work. And everyone has been like that. It's actually quite overwhelming. Yeah, because I've tried other places in Africa. I mean, I was trying to find other countries in Africa. I'm far more comfortable in West Africa. That's where I'm from. I know that side more. But what the South Africans have shown, you should be really proud.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You should be really proud because you really sort of know how to come together and make people feel supported and cared for. Because it's for me, as somebody from outside, I feel I belong here. I mean, everybody speaks to me in all the languages, and I'm like, I'm not from here. I'm not South African. People think I am. I think there's somewhere in Africa that thinks I'm African, because Nigerians don't think I am. The only place where they think I'm African is here.
Wow.
I'm Nigerian, but nobody ever thinks I'm from there.
Just to really just re-emphasise the work that Ricardo's done, it is amazing. Ricardo and Nika are like Pied Piper, because they brought people over. There's a huge contingency from the UK over here, and like I say, there's a real hunger for this work here. But I've worked with and been part of other festivals, and this is nothing like any other. And I come from a really sort of progressive place in the UK that does lots of different work, but it has nothing on what Free State has to offer at all. So it really has. It is something special. And it is a little world, and it needs the opportunity to kind of expand and do a lot more. But it is something that is really, really unique and really, really special.
Sure. Indeed, it is something very special. I think it's very important that we have somewhere where we can just respect different cultures, different people, different ethnic groups. It's a very good platform for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's like saying it's recognising difference, because we are, everyone's different. We're different within a family, let alone different cultures. It's recognising we are different but equal, and there's something special about that.
Very, very special. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
in the studio today. I think this is something very amazing, and it definitely should grow.
Yeah.
And we're definitely looking forward to what Pace has to bring to the festival.
It'd be wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for-
very much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
And that is all that we have for today in studio. Do not miss anything that Pace is going to bring into the festival, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in.